All right, welcome back to the Raise Your Vibration Family Week 44. This week we are talking about temptations. And today we are going to break down in this video what temptations are and a great way to improve your life and raise your vibration with the perspective from looking out for temptations. Here we go. Okay, so the number one temptation is the temptation to focus on a lesser goal. Now, here is the real trigger. A lot of people think they're focusing on the biggest possible goal, or they're thinking of the biggest picture. But so much of the time, they are actually sucked into thinking small. So I'm saying think big. And even if you think you're thinking big, you need to think even bigger. And keep trying to think bigger, because the great thing about thinking is you can always rethink something. If you're doing something and it's working, you can improve it. If you're doing something and it's not working, you know what you can do? Improve it. Something is always working. Remember that. But remember, something can always work better. So, can you think of the things in where you're thinking small? And if you can't, this is the temptation. The temptation to stay in your comfort zone. The temptation to not take the feedback. The temptation to not listen to your own ideas of expansion and growth and creativity and thinking even bigger. Oh yeah. So, what is this temptation and where does it come from? This temptation to not think big comes from the feeling that you are successful. When you feel like you're doing good, when you feel like you're doing good enough, you see more fear and pain associated with more growth. Now, that might sound weird, but if you have a sticking point, if you're not getting to where you want to go, then the problem might just lie in your psychology. Now, your mental health is not the psychology I'm talking about. You can be mentally healthy and still be adverse to risk and to pain, which is basically not the pain thing. It's the pleasurable. It's the pleasure. It's just the flip side of pain. And so really, you're not focusing on the pleasure you could get from thinking bigger, the growth you could get from thinking bigger, how you can help the people that are helping you even more. How you can help everybody in the world just a little bit. Just a little bit. How could you help everybody in the world just a little bit? Add a little value, give them something useful. It's not that hard. You just got to think, what can I give to people? And start doing it. And you start doing it, and here you go, you're giving to people, it's going good, it's kind of hard in the beginning, but you're figuring out different ways and how you can get there. And then, once you're there, you realize, wait a second, this is not everything I imagined it would be. So here we go. First, it is your comfort zone, which is the ultimate temptation to pull you into a place where you don't really have to do the work. You're like, I am good. I'm good, you know. I don't have to do all that stuff. I'm good. The second temptation, which we're talking about, is the temptation to think small. So the temptation to think small is thinking, I'm doing good enough. This will work eventually. Step by step, keep it going, and guess what? That is a very good idea. Keep going step by step. Be happy with small incremental gains. That's how you get to big gains. But the big gain is not just one step added up, along the way you figure out how to add 10 or 100 steps instead of just adding one step. So if you can see, where is the flaw in your thinking? Where are you thinking small and just adding one step at a time instead of thinking, how can I connect to the 10 steps? How can I get to my goal in one step instead of climbing the whole mountain? You could take a helicopter, for example. One step, you just have to think bigger. So if the goal is necessary enough, if it's an absolute need, not just a I should do it, or I gotta do it, or I really, really want to do it. If you need to do it, you will find a way to take that step because time is limited in your life right now. No matter how much time you have, it's limited because your attention and focus is limited. Even if you can focus on something for 5 hours at a time, which is incredibly rare, time is running out. Even if you live until you're 10,000 years old, time is ticking. So, with this in mind, what are you going to do about it? How are you going to get to your goals? Because the great thing about thinking big is also setting big goals. If you set big old goals, you can have something to really get you to grow and expand and to constantly be thinking of ideas, innovations, ways to make things better, improvements, to build the thing and make it happen now and to make the work all come together where it has to happen now. You find the resources, you are resourceful, and you get the work done because it's a need and not a must. So set your big goal and then think big on how to get there because the big goal is a great kind of a focal point to realize what you're doing right now might not get you there. So you just need to do the math or whatever you need to do. Take the measurements. You need to take the measurements. So if you can measure, here's how much progress I'm making. This is how long I have to get there. Will I be able to get there? If you make this much progress in a day, but you have to get to 1,000 times longer than that, and you only have 300 more days, you're not going to get there. That's the great thing about deadlines, is you need to start taking them steps bigger, faster, more efficiently. Sometimes you don't get success, but you beat the deadline, and you show up. Showing up is the most important thing, just like setting your big goals, because as you set them, you start working towards them. You start showing up in your small actions. Eventually, you find the ways to compound your actions, multiply your efforts, and you aren't tempted to stay small anymore. You aren't tempted. Also, another temptation is setting small goals. Ooh, the ultimate temptation. What if all these big goals we don't actually need to set? What if we could just set small goals, kick back, we've already achieved these goals, they're so small, just by being born. So now we can kick back, do whatever we want, just let life bring the stuff to it we can just kind of blow off opportunities that we would actually want to pursue because at this point we are contracted into a hardened shell that won't let you out and to pursue the opportunities that you actually do want. So small goals are not going to actually help you feel better and more relaxed and laid back and that whole thing. Because the big goals help you to actually follow every opportunity, to enjoy every day to the fullest, and to actually have a great time. And isn't that what we all want? That's what raising your vibration is all about. So thanks for watching week 44 of the Raise Your Vibration family. And today, I'll see you tomorrow. Peace out.